All right.
Yeah, definitely
Well, thank you all for coming out today. We've got our final presentation. I don't have the title right here. Black Dog Collectors, we play for Rio, I think is what it was called. And so we have Kelle is a musician, artist, storyteller, and community organizer. She earned her Master of Art in Communication and Storytelling Studies from East Tennessee State University. She describes herself as an Appalachian Georgia peach who plays ukulele, sings the blues, and plays with dogs. She is the founder of the Women in Jazz Jam Festival and the Yucasphere Ukulele Club, and she is working to establish a Black Appalachian storytelling organization, which maybe they can tell some stories here. Kelle is part of the team at the Black in Appalachia and assists with outreach through Black communities across Appalachia to document inclusive histories and support equitable future. You can look them up online. Black in Appalachia is a great organization out of Asheville, right?
Yep. And Whitesburg.
And a great podcast, very
Tennessee.
enjoyable and informative and fun to listen to. And with her we have Margot Miller. She was the retired executive director from the Appalachian Community Fund, and now she is a freelance artist, well she says freelance artisan, maker, and or creator, whatever I wanted to say. And I said, I want to say mom, and so welcome and thank you very much for coming out today.
Thank you.
It's a play date. We're hanging out at the tables.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. We are having a play date, and that was the whole thing. So thank you all for having us here today. Before we start our play, because this is a play date, I feel like this conversation deserves some play. We deserve to play. This day needs some play. So before we start playing, though, we're going to start off with some music because we have to. Can you put your hands together? Miss Mary Mac, all dressed in black, with silver buttons all down her back. She asked her mother for 15 cents to see the elephants jump the fence. They jumped so high, they touched the sky, and they never came back till the 4th of July. Yeah. Thank you. So this session, this play date is called Black Adult Doll Collectors. We play for real, and it's just going to be a conversation and a little play between my friend and sister, Margot Miller, and me, and you. So I wanted to have this talk and this discussion because play means a lot to me. There's something deeper going on when you talk about play. And even though it's something that we usually associate with children, we still play as adults. And then it means something else. Okay? And we're talking about black doll collecting because for me, it's another experience. And so I look at this conversation and this interaction and my experience today as an autoethnographical experience, okay? This is me thinking about my place in the doll community and how did I get there and how do I interact with other doll collectors and what does it mean to be a black woman today who collects and plays with dolls and makes doll dresses and builds doll rooms and has conversations with other adults all around the world about the new dolls that are coming out. So we're going to have that conversation today. Themes of race, sex, class, all those things come up, even in our play, because our play reflects what we think, our attitudes, what we've been influenced by. And so you're going to learn a little bit about what has influenced us and our attitudes and how it comes out in our play. So let's begin with our play. So you all have on your tables some paper bags. And in your paper bag are some things. And there should be like some Post-it notes in there too. In some of the bags are some Post-it notes. I want everybody to get some Post-it notes. I want everybody to have something to write with. And I want you all to look at the doll that came out of your paper bag. Write down what the image of that doll and that package and all the marketing and imagery and everything that's on it. What comes to mind when you look at that doll? Who is that doll representing? If you don't have a pen, I have some extras. No.
Who needs a pen?
What does that doll represent? Who does that doll represent? Does it make you think of anybody, or does it look like no one in your circle? There's some Post-it notes. And you can write down use as many Post-it notes and write down as many things. If you want to put a different word on each Post-it note, you can. If you want to write a whole sentence on a Post-it note, you can.
Are you calling them Post-it notes?
Did I just say that?
Is that what you, or was that what you're calling them?
I said Post-it notes.
Post-it? Okay.
What?
Post-it.
Oh, yeah.
Post?
Yeah.
Okay. Post-it notes.
I don't know. That's my draw.
It is. I just wanted to make sure. It's like, what did you say? That's cute though.
That's my draw.
That's your draw.
Yeah. Look, I mean, her head wrap won't stay on. I can't get
No,
her
what is
head
her
wrap.
name? Because I've seen pictures of her. Is that the one?
This is a fresh.
She's not a Barbie, right?
No, she's not a Barbie. She's a fresh doll. She's a fresh doll. Dr. Lisa. Dr. Lisa designed these dolls.
Graphics are hidden.
They're all not Barbies. They're Barbies, Naturalistas, and then some of them like private. If you saw that doll as a person walking down the street, what would you do? What would you think? Not the doll.
Not the doll. The personification.
The doll. Now, how can I advance this thing? Where's the clicker thing? You see it? Where's the
Is
clicker?
it? Nope.
I saw somebody with the clicker. And maybe it's on here. Oh, here it is. Maybe this will work. Okay, so let me see. Okay, let me see some of these things. Are you finished writing? Which shall it? Okay. You got that new can. So what do you think about that new can? Yeah, no. They kind of cheap, those brown cans. Reminds you of Chad. Okay, so it sounds like we're finished writing on our Post-it notes, Margo. Okay. Well, I kind of do want to know a little bit about what you thought about the dolls. What were your responses? This same doll, humanity, beautiful, diversity, potential, play, and made in China. basketball player, basketball. Just Ken, very handsome. When was it made? Number 203. The black male doll. Dolls all wear jerseys. Wow, I never thought about that. The jerseys, yeah. Black Ken, black beauty, athletic, hair, power, and strong.
Over here we have a young urban doll with accessories, a dog, a laptop and headphones, contemporary, and the word hipster was used to describe this one as well.
Well, it helped out a little portable record player. Got a backpack and got some records.
She was also described as a modern fashionista and girl power, and very confident. What did you have to say about this lady? Okay, let me see. I can't read it. Someone I'd like to know, athletic, a dog lover, and a student. Oh, a dog lover. Oh yeah, she has a pet dog. Who is this one? This one's your fresh one. Okay. Fun, fashion, beauty. She's dancing. Pink, girly. Is this representation and response? Oh, you're good. I would think that she's owning her style. She's taking up space, and I would acknowledge her. I would acknowledge her on. I would ask about her glitter top. You want her glitter top? I think we got a Barbie over here on this side. Oh my.
Yes.
That was my first response. Can I see yours?
Empowered, active agency, well-dressed, proud, and handmade is not the handmade is the other one. But she's industrial.
And then we have a woman.
Yeah, that is a juxtaposition. So for that one, my first response was sad with a frowny face. And then I put polywog because that's the stereotypical name for like that doll form, which makes me sad. But it's also handmade. It's also representative of Black agency in a certain way. But yeah, it's based on stereotypes and caricatures.
I wrote the same thing for both. Originally, I started writing for the Barbie, but then I started thinking about more idealized and whose idea.
So that's a question. And also, this is one.
I thought this was sweet and comfortable, and but not much hair. No. I like her dress. I don't think it's that pretty.
We can't see it.
Cuddly was another word that was described. Did one of you want to share thoughts? Okay.
Similar words. So for this one, I have young, fashion, trendy, feminine, and the other one is more made, well-loved, stereotype.
Can I share one of my, not Mattel, well-loved handmade dolls? Can I? So this one right here was made by a really dear friend of mine, who's a doll maker, who used to live in Knoxville, near Knoxville, Tennessee. She's still in Tennessee. But she made this doll for a fair. And she gifted it to me, so her name is Margot. And she's dressed in, I still call it a dashiki dress. Beautiful jewels. Her hair is made of rope, but it looks like locks or braids or twists. And she's got the traditional ragdoll face painted on her. And she is very well loved. Even though she doesn't get played with, she still sits at the front of my house and greets everybody that comes to the door. So this is another handmade, well-loved doll.
Patches, pantaloons.
Diane Stock. Is it Stockham? What is Diane's last name? Diana.
You're gonna make me.
And she's got pantaloons on too.
Oh, she's amazing. Yeah, pantaloons. She's an amazing crafter. So, you all, some of you may have been looking at this type of doll for the first time. Did you know that there were fresh dolls? You all have a fresh doll, not a Barbie. Barbie, fresh dolls, Naturalistas, even Ludacris and his daughter have a doll, just that doll, Karma doll. So many different dolls now. Wasn't like that when I was little, and it definitely wasn't like that 50 years before that. So we've come a long way in representation. You know, when you say Margo?
I would. Even I brought a couple of these little ones here too. These are like Kelle and what's the little boy's name? Tommy dolls. So I don't think they do these anymore, but for a while they had these little babies or toddlers that Barbie could actually walk around with. So these also, so you talk about representation. This was just a kid of Barbie's.
Yeah. Well, a sister.
A sister.
Yeah, she didn't have any kids.
Oh, that's right. No, you remember the pregnant Barbie? They did.
Yeah, but that was Midge.
Oh, Midge. Oh, yeah. That wasn't Barbie. You're right.
So today we're thinking outside the box, like outside the box. So you can take the dolls out of the box. You can open them out the box and open the containers, open the dolls. Take all the parts out. We're thinking outside the box, and you can take them outside the box. I know, but I'm gonna say this in the beginning. I'm gonna say this from the jump. I'm a doll collector. They do not stay in boxes. Like I have some here that are in boxes, but they must live. Like they live at my house. Growing up, I was born in South Carolina. I grew up in Decatur, which is outside of Atlanta. And then later on, after 2 marriages, I ended up in East Tennessee. And so throughout that whole time, I've always been a maker. Even as a 3-year-old, I was a maker. I made dolls. I tried to sew. I loved fabric. And it didn't come from my parents, because they still can't figure me out. But I always loved making my own toys. And those images that I saw around me, they definitely impacted me. I mean, it was the 70s. I loved Holly Hobby. You know, even as a little black girl in South Carolina, I loved Holly Hobby.
Do you remember the Cabbage Patch? There were those too.
Right. And then going forward, I had Cabbage Patch dolls. And I really loved those Cabbage Patch baby dolls. They were babies. And I kept my Cabbage Patch until my mom sold our childhood home and I got rid of all my things. So my progression of dolls went from like the early like Holly Hobby paper dolls to Cabbage Patches, and eventually to Barbie dolls. And I never let go of my Barbie dolls, even though I became a teenager and went to college. I always had them. And as an adult now, my love for dolls was rekindled by my friends. They would see dolls in the store and they'd say, Kelle needs to have that. She needs to have that doll. So my collection was rekindled by that Ella Fitzgerald doll that's down there. Because I sing a lot, I sing jazz and blues, and Ella's one of my idols in music. And so one of my friends saw that Ella doll when it came out, when Barbie did those collectors, and she bought me that Ella. And then the next doll that came out that a friend gifted me was the garden doll, because I'm a big gardener. And I advocate for living green and growing. And so a friend saw that doll and she bought it for me. And so the reason why I wanted you to describe what you saw when you looked at the dolls, because when we look at these dolls, we're looking for ourselves. And we're just getting to a point where we can go to the store and see dolls and toys that look like us. And so it's exciting. So for me, other women were buying these dolls for me because they said, if I was you, I'd want to have this. Like, we should be able to play with dolls that look like us.
Yeah, and I think for me, Kelly talks about early on, I also too grew up very solitary in play. I made my doll's clothes. I made the furniture, and I was a dollhouse person. So I remember my mom saved up, and everybody probably has seen this dollhouse. It was just like it's the typical one that was made in the 70s. I forget, there was maybe 3 rooms upstairs, a staircase, and you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So I had that dollhouse. And, family, not a lot of money, whatever, so got the dollhouse, but we weren't going to the place to buy all the furniture for the dollhouse. So I was the one that looked at the stuff that we were throwing out and, oh, this could make a plate, or, oh, I could take this box and cut it up and put things on it, make a refrigerator. Oh, I can take flour and whatever and put it together to make the bread and all this stuff. So I grew up as a little kid furnishing my dollhouse by myself, and that was my first love of dolls and play, was making the dolls and the things that went into my dollhouse. It wasn't until a little bit later with the Barbie, and we didn't have a lot of Barbies growing up. Again, it was 1 or 2. We were not the destructive kids that cut the hair off and pulled the heads off, we didn't do that. But my aunt, every birthday occasion, would sew doll clothes for our Barbies. So I got gift. My Barbie was the most well-dressed Barbie doll in the neighborhood, not because she had the most and latest fashion, but because she had the most unique clothes that no one else had, because my aunt made her pantsuits, jumpers, all this other stuff. So I was very fortunate to grow up with a family that encouraged that type of activity and play. And it wasn't until much, much older that I became a closeted Barbie doll collector.
Margot, why do you describe yourself as closeted?
Because I'm somewhat of a feminist, womanist, and Barbie doesn't exactly represent what I see when I look in the mirror.
Do some of y'all feel like that? Offended by Barbie? Kinda?
Yes, I didn't want to perpetuate that drastic stereotype. But then once they started coming out with more and more Barbies, I'm looking at her and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful. Oh, she does this. Oh, Barbie, blah, 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 blah. And then before you knew it, I ended up with 30 Barbie dolls in boxes.
But Barbie has so many jobs, though.
Oh, she does. She does. There's a lot of, a teacher. I think I've got a babysitter. I didn't get the astronaut one. I think that one came out a little bit after I stopped. But all of the holiday collections, all of the gala dolls, they went to galas. The holiday ones and the gala ones are at the house. They didn't get to leave. They were very upset that they didn't join. Coming to North Carolina.
And her own car?
See, I didn't have a car, but you remember the big tall townhouse? Do you have the townhouse?
No, I don't have the townhouse.
Okay, so the townhouse. Do y'all remember the townhouse? Okay, so at the time, my then fiance, this might be TMI for some people, so if it is, just cover your ears. We were putting together the townhouse for his niece, who he had legal guardianship over. So we're putting it together, and we're frustrated trying to assemble and get all the pieces, and then we're not doing it right. And then before you know it, we started playing with the Barbies. So the two of us, this grown college-age woman and a college-age man, are sitting and playing Barbies in the townhouse, going up and down the escalator.
Yeah.
And we got caught because we were playing with the dolls instead of putting together the townhouse that was supposed to be a Christmas gift. So we got caught playing with the dolls.
Yeah.
Going up and down the escalator.
Why not? Why not? So we have a history with dolls. And now we're gonna I wanna just warn you that how we talk about things may take a swirly path, may reverse and go back, but we're going to talk about cultural continuation, play therapy, or play seen as therapy, which you just kind of talked about, that relaxation, meditative play, the impact of multicultural dolls, which I should not have that L on it, I can't see, and building community. And we might go like this.
Yeah.
So doll culture. In what ways do you see doll making as a form of cultural continuation for Appalachian people? And we talked about this, Margot, because you were like, when I said Appalachian, you were kind of like, why? Why? When I mentioned Appalachian and talking about us, why do you have reservations?
For me, it was more on the doll part, because I always say I'm a proud Black Mountain woman. I grew up in East Tennessee, so I'm an Appalachian woman. So to be able to then tell you why my doll play is Appalachian in nature, it's very difficult for me to describe something that I grew up with that was ingrained in me. So that for me is another reason why I brought Margot, because this was a rag doll. So that was like, this model was actually very similar to some of the first dolls that I made as a kid. Very simple, you know, just something that if you had, you know, some scrap fabric, be very careful because she's got pins in her. Okay. So very simple pattern where you could just take little pieces of fabric, stuff it with whatever you had, put a stitch around it to make a neck, and then drape fabric around it. It was a very simple doll that folks could make if you didn't have a lot. So I guess this for me would be as close to Appalachian, the gritty, frugal, make things on your, I don't know. That to me maybe would be an Appalachian-esque type of feature about some of my early doll stuff. Is because I used what I had. And there was even one, I didn't bring it because it was too big. We also used to take sticks from the yard and make dolls with. So I didn't look at that as Appalachian, but I guess it might be.
It is, Margot, because I was looking through the Foxfire books. Y'all ever looked through those Foxfire books? And there's one that's specifically about dolls and toys. And in that book, there's evidence of interviews with people where they say they made stick dolls. They would take a stick and then put some fabric on it, and it was a stick doll. They would take a potato and put some fabric on it, and then you had a potato doll. Or even a squash, they would kind of carve it out on the inside, and then you could make it like eat food and poop.
We got in trouble with the potato doll stuff.
You had that doll?
Because the potato dolls would rot. They would go, and then when they stink, you know what a potato smells like when it goes bad? We got in trouble because we would try to keep them in place. We got in trouble for making those potatoes.
Okay, so what, Margot, now how do you feel about applying that term to yourself?
I'm better with it now that we talked about it.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't really think about it before.
I know. So sometimes we practice things that we don't know, practice rituals we don't know, play rituals that we don't even know the origin of, but because it's something that we naturally do, or maybe we saw somebody else doing it, we learned it from an older sibling or cousin, we assimilate and practice the same thing.
And I think it's all mixed into, Kelly, because the stick dolls, this is one that I did bring. This is actually from Africa. Mm-hmm. This doll too, she's very well endowed. She's cushioned in the tissue. But she too is made with sticks wrapped with fabric. So there's something, I mean, this is an artisan. This is not like a child like me and my sister and cousins used to play. But still, it's a very similar concept. You have the sticks, you wrap them in fabric, and then you dress them and adorn them to look more like you. She doesn't have pins in her, so okay. she can be passed around.
You can tell that her legs are stick.
They're made from stick. I don't remember. I've had her for decades now. Similar to Kelly, when people find out that you like dolls, you know, they just are gifted and show up in your home.
Was playing with dolls something that you did with just your sisters and your cousins, or did your mom play with dolls?
My mom did when she played with us. You remember that Baby Alive doll?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Mom would play with that. But Mom, I think she was just trying to get us kids back. I grew up with my baby sister. She's just a little bit younger than me. But she finally broke down and got us those Baby Alive dolls. And for those who remember what they look like, they drank and did all the stuff, and the body did all the business.
All the business.
Mom would feed our babies behind our back, just because after a while we realized that if we keep feeding them, we're going to keep changing the diapers. So we didn't want that part of the play. So every now and then, Mom would feed our babies just so we would have to change their diaper. And we ended up with cloth diapers too because it was too expensive. We ended up putting cloth diapers on our baby Ella.
Yeah.
Because they had baby diapers you could buy in the store for those type of things.
Yeah, but you probably lost them.
We used the little ones that came with her, but we started using cloth diapers in our baby alive.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's good. Your mom was involved. I don't think I ever sat down with my mom and played with a doll. Have you, any of you all, did you play dolls with your mom? No. You know, a couple of months ago, I had a friend visit me, and she has 2 children, a daughter that's like 6 and a son that's 4. And we were sitting outside after playing with some of my dolls at the house, and her daughter said, "Auntie Kelly, I think I'm too old for dolls." And I was like, "Why did you say that?" Because the other kids told me that, to be a bigger kid, you have to stop playing with dolls. And I said, "Well, Auntie Kelly plays with dolls, and I'm way older than you, so I think it'll be fine if you continue to play with dolls." But what is it that makes girls so early, you think, decide to turn their backs on dolls? Peer pressure?
Yeah, but where's that come from?
I'm sorry, Kelly. I got it.
Question about the difference of playing with baby dolls versus playing with like adult dolls and sort of like the different sort of expectancies, right? Like when you're playing with a baby, you're kind of mimicking mother, and like mother rearing, but when you're doing this, it's sort of aspirational, right? Like you get to put yourself in this person's imaginary shoes, kind of. I was wondering if you guys could talk a little bit about that.
Well, with the history of Barbie with Hamlet, that's what her husband told her. Like, nobody's going to buy their daughter a grown lady with boobs.
And they did.
And they did. And that doll, like in 10 years, like ended up making like $2 million for Mattel. And then the rest is history. Was somebody else here?
I have some best friends who I met when I lived in a neighborhood in Hillsborough during COVID, and so they were first grade, kindergarten, and I guess 4. And now they're a bit older, but I remember the day Naima got her Barbie dream house, and it was so fancy. And Naima has one of the American Girl dolls that I believe is from Alaska. I haven't met her. So, but it was interesting because the one who's a year older than Naima, Lila, did decide to stop playing with dolls recently. And I guess I wonder if it's different because COVID maybe made things real in a way that maybe other generations of childhood didn't experience. And so where you have to draw the lines for you kind of almost like a childhood, stolen or interrupted or changed. Even though I think, right, some of us had these solitary doll experiences, but I remember trying to give Lila my American Girl doll, which is Kirsten, because she came with the storybooks, and it felt like a way to read. And I think that brand has changed interestingly since it was introduced. So I guess, I wonder if we're in a different moment just because of the harsh reality children are aware of. Just a wondering.
Thank you. Were you going to say something? Oh, thank you. Yeah. So maybe like going through that harshness of life or drastic change in our everyday living caused them to change their focus and lose focus of imagination and relaxed play. We have to think about that. We might need to put some effort into reclaiming that, making an effort to help them reclaim their imagination and letting them be free. And that's really what I was hoping, is that we would start asking these questions, because it'll help us as we think about where our research should go. Yeah. So, I don't know how to use this clicker.
I inherited dogs from my mom. This is beginning of the century. And they were all hard wood or china heads
Yeah.
and fancy dress. And she didn't play with them. They sat and moved around, but they, as soon as things got plastic, now you could throw them around a bit and comb their hair, and the plastic industry changed dolls so much to me because they got softer. I always liked the fabric dolls, and my mother made some of those to fill in, but I don't think she ever went through that playing with dolls in her generation. And I got all the kinds. I got the stand ones and the soft ones and the plastic ones. And it was really the toy industry that when they found plastic that we made into a soft Betsy Wetsy doll, you know, that they really found a big opportunity to hit little girls especially, but maybe little boys too.
Yeah, little boys too.
And I didn't bring my porcelain dolls because I also have porcelain dolls. They were the storybook dolls. I can't remember what collection they came from, but I have a Cinderella doll and a Little Red Riding Hood doll that are porcelain. And I played with my dolls, unfortunately. And Cinderella now has no feet. Because you can't take a Cinderella, you can't take a porcelain doll and play with it the way you do plastics. So they don't leave the house anymore either because I don't want to injure them any further.
That's so ironic that was the original story of Cinderella. Her sisters don't have feet.
Do you know this? So Cinderella is not a happy fairy tale, as many of them are not. And so Prince Charming didn't know what Cinderella looked like, but he knew what shoes she wore. So her two evil stepsisters pretended to be her. And the first girl, her feet were too large, and so she cut off her toes, and he didn't notice. But finally, after days, the blood gave it away. Then the second, he was like, "You're not the right woman." The second sister had feet that were too small, and so she stabbed her feet, and to make them fit, and the blood gave away. And so finally, he realized that she was wrong, and it wasn't until Cinderella had the rights to make size feet. So your doll.
Cinderella can't wear Prince Charming shoe either because she has no feet at all.
No, she needs to get a divorce. But that's, yeah, the origin of Cinderella and her sisters is horrific.
Well, now you have an authentic Cinderella, Margot.
I do.
Well, I wanted to highlight Jenny Pickens, and I had invited Jenny to be here, but she could not make it at the time. But she's a local doll maker, and you can find some of her dolls around town. And she makes the cloth dolls, and she was inspired by her niece to start making dolls. I think her niece passed away. And then she started making dolls. So she makes these beautiful dolls. So if you are looking for a local black doll maker, Jenny Pickens is someone you should check out. This little outfit I made is actually from ribbon, and I just sewed it, made the darts in it and everything with the ribbon. I said, well, I should be able to make doll clothes with ribbon, and it worked. But sometimes I buy toys that look like they're 1/6 scale, which is like Fashion Doll Barbie, fashionista size, and then I add to them. You know, sometimes they're not tall enough or something. So this is like a little dollar, I think it's Dollar Tree pool table. And so I had another doll table, and I used something, and I sawed the legs off, and I added the legs on, and then cardboard to the bottom so that it would be Barbie Barbie size. So it's an actual pool table, and it has like the pool table, cubes, yeah. So it has like yeah. But I think doll playing and diorama building, it helps you look at the world differently and to not get so anxious when things don't work the way you want them to. You know, you learn to look for options. I know, I'm here, I was trying to get did I take the, oh, here they are.
The pool stick.
Yeah. All right, I was gonna take this over. I think y'all had a basketball, y'all don't have the basketball players. Y'all don't have the chairs here, the basketball players.
Well, we got somebody who needs something to do. Yes. All right, now we got it. Yeah, he's just not.
Yeah, so diorama building is something that, even if I'm working on something else, it helps me, it's stimulating to have to build something and make it work. You said you like to do dioramas too?
Mm-hmm. I didn't know that's what it was called, but yes, I do. And for me, it's about being able to, when you have limited resources and you have all these dreams for your house and this, that, the other, you might not be able to go in and paint the walls in some kind of crazy color and then put all this stuff there. But with the smaller scale, you can at least live out some of the things and the visions that you have in yourself, and you can make them small, and then that's kind of like, it's almost like an escape type of a thing for doing those things. And two, I don't know what it is, I just like working with small miniature. I really like working in miniature, and I don't know if that's because I grew up doing it or what. Because, you know, now I'm having to take my glasses off and put them back on all the time just to see, but I enjoy making miniature, and I like making scenes. Just recently, and the first one that I do, I'm gonna have to give to you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really interested, since I've retired, I still will have to work eventually, but not for right now, but I'm retired, but I'm wanting to grow plants. Plants are expensive.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to start doing some miniature plant arrangements. So Kelly, you probably will have a bunch of pots, because I want to make clay pots, little bitty miniature clay pots, and put little flowers in them. So Kelly probably will be gifted with those too. So for me, it's a form of escapism, imagining whatever. That's one of the reasons I like doing the diorama and the scene and the set building.
Yeah, plants.
Oh, let me see.
Okay, I'm gonna say that I really want my phone right now because I really want to take pictures of all the things that you're doing with your dolls. If you take pictures, like send them to me.
I'm gonna put them on the Instagram.
Thank you, because it's hard to have a doll in front of you and not make it and bring it to life.
If you've been hired to or partnered with any mental health or any health settings where you've done play therapy with community, I can see this being
Really good, right?
really
So I reached out to that community before this conference, and I hope to develop a relationship with some play therapists in town, and not necessarily with dolls, but I know that there are people in town who are play therapists. And I don't know what kind, but they do like individual play therapy and also like family play therapy. I'm definitely interested in it because I feel like it's relaxing. And I feel like it also tells a story. I'm also a storyteller, and like 2 years ago at the National Storytelling Festival, there was a storyteller from Alaska, like an indigenous storyteller, and he said that dolls are witnesses. Dolls are witnesses, like they witness to our life. So I thought, wow, dolls are important. So some cultures use dolls in ceremony. Some people use dolls for rituals. So dolls are important. They're witnesses to our lives. They reflect our lives too. Yeah. So I'm definitely interested. If you want to connect me, help me on that road, I would love that. My Black Barbie had another name. You know, like I participate in the doll online doll community, and whenever I see other people talking about black dolls, they always call them a Christie. But in our neighborhood, they were Barbie.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't say, oh, this is not a Barbie, this is a Christie. This is a Barbie. But now that I'm in conversation with other collectors, I'm learning that they don't consider sometimes like the black dolls as a Barbie. She's a Christie. Like,
This one right here was one of my,
Michelle.
the Michelle. She actually is one of the black dolls, and I remember when they came out with her, I had to have her because she had curly hair. And this one right here, is this another Michelle, I think, with different hair? No, her name's not on here.
It's Michelle in the front.
On this one too?
I saw Michelle. I saw Michelle somewhere.
Michelle's on that one.
Oh,
This is another one, and her hair too was very unique and different than the other Barbies, so I got her too, just because she had a very similar face, but the hair was different. It was textured more like African American weave or bob or whatever.
because they didn't have, they didn't have those dolls with the texture, the Afro texture hair. All of the dolls were just brown versions of the white dolls.
Yeah, and that was one of the reasons that attracted me to those two, that they very different texture.
And that's why a lot of the other dolls have come out. You have a fresh doll. And those dolls were designed by Dr. Lisa. She was an engineer and a professor, and she decided that she wanted to create a doll that looked more, and that's also a fresh doll. But she's the Family Dollar fresh doll.
My aunt brought this back to me from Hawaii, so I'm not really sure why she doesn't. But she has a very similar painted on panty that they started doing with the Barbie dolls, so I don't know.
That Hawaiian.
Mm-hmm. I mean, she can't twist. I mean, she can barely sit down.
Yeah, so that articulation is another reason why other doll designers are trying different designs, because they're trying to outdo what Barbie has done. They're trying to push the dolls forward. So having more articulation, more shapely hips, different heights, afro hair, curly hair, so that they're really, and this one is a break dancer, so they're break dancing. This is a Rock the Bells fresh doll, which was created in collaboration with Dr. Lisa and LL Cool J.
So are they doing dolls that represent like parts of black culture, like stat culture and things like that as well, and like drumline and like HBCU kind of?
There are HBCU lines, but it's I think it's more of like a baby doll, and that's another line. What's her? Dee Dee Wright Ward. She has a line of historically black college baby dolls, which is very interesting. I mean, in my life, I'm still shocked by it. I graduated from an HBCU, historically black college, and to see companies taking the initiative to make dolls that represent our universities and our traditions, like you said, like stepping, like break dancing.
She's got thighs too.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, she has. You can see it from a distance. She actually has thighs.
I'm ready for love handles and a little apron belly.
Have you seen those Encanto dolls? Okay. Right. You have to get the Encanto sister. Yeah, she definitely has that. So, Naturalista's, Purpose Toys are all new companies that are out now that have the multicultural dolls, and not just black dolls, like Asian dolls and Polynesian and all different kinds of skin tones. Because really, I mean, really in a doll, you're just really talking about skin tones. Because it could be from anywhere. But just the variety of shades is nice. So now I want to talk about the community of dolls, doll collectors. And that really brings us deep into the fashion doll community, and I want to talk about my experience in that. So I told you that I started collecting more dolls because people were giving me dolls, and I liked the way the dolls looked, the hair texture. I related more to the dolls, the way they looked, and their fashions and everything. So then I started searching out other people who were also collecting dolls, and of course now that takes you to the internet. So I look online, and I see dolls. And the first place that I really started looking for community was on YouTube, watching other doll makers. And there's a doll maker, doll crafter, super doll crafter. Her name is My Froggy Stuff. Have you seen My Froggy Stuff? Yeah. My Froggy Stuff has been doing this for years, and she makes dioramas. She redoes the dolls' makeup, gives the dolls makeovers, and really is taking crafting to the next level. And what's amazing about it is that she's inspiring children and adults to craft. You know, I don't know your experience in your medium, but for me, being a crafter or a seamstress at a young age was an isolating thing. Reading craft how-to books and instructions, like my friends weren't gonna do that. I don't care what you call the book, Childcraft. Remember that? The Childcraft encyclopedias? Me, I like worship my books, you know. But it wasn't something that I did with a lot of people. So now, having access to social media, watching how-to videos, I call it YouTube University. You know, watching people on YouTube make crafts, reading other people's comments and realizing like, oh, they're thinking the same thing I'm thinking. Let me look for them on Instagram. Then I go to Instagram and I find their pages and I see even more images. And then I start conversations with them, and that's how I learned that there are local doll, especially like local Black doll groups. And they get together and they create dioramas together. And they get together and share things. They trade clothes. They trade heads. Yeah, and bodies.
These two Kens have slightly different heads.
They do?
Yeah. Just little ones.
The shape's just a little different. It's a
Yeah,
little.
a little rounder than the other.
Yeah, well, each one is different. And some people, when they go to the store and buy them, even if they're trying to choose one doll, they look at every box of that one doll. Because like you said, one head might be bigger. Yeah.
In your YouTube University studies, have you come across the man who is like notoriously famous for his makeup and hair that he does with his Barbies? I stumbled on him and I watched a couple of his, this has been years ago, but he does the makeup, like he shows how to like remove the makeup that's on. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Alcohol remove their eyebrows and then he kind of eyeshadow and redoes it all. Yeah.
And then he redoes their hair. Like, so, you know, even, you know, the guys are getting inspired and whatever by the play with the dolls.
I think he's coming out of like drag.
Mm.
I think he's like dragging the Barbie.
And maybe that's why I was watching him, because I love drag. Yeah, I love drag.
Yeah,
And so
me
he
too.
makes the most beautiful, like, makeup with the dolls and the hair with the dolls. Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, so I think it's like a new craft revival that's happening because of social media. And people can share so quickly and get ideas so fast that you don't have to wait to figure things out. So I think that's exciting. It's not always happy in doll world. You know, something can happen and then that goes through the community really quickly. Like for example, if a doll comes out and people don't agree with the way they were looking, I think there was a infinity doll that came out and people didn't like the skin tone and her lipstick. Her lipstick was too bright for her skin tone and people were insulted. And that went through the community really quickly. So it's not all peaches and cream in the doll community. People have strong feelings, especially when you do talk about skin color and hair texture and style of clothes, because you're representing real people. They want it to be realistic and believable. And if it looks like nobody in the room look like you, if you feel like people are making decisions and it looks like nobody like you was in the room, then you feel like you're being made fun of. And so I hope that these companies, these bigger companies, are making an effort to include a diverse talent in the room to make these decisions about the dolls. So.
Have you been to NIADA? Do you know about, are either of you familiar with NIADA? So it's actually founded by Helen Keller, who was an old Kelle member. She invented the Holly doll, and she basically created this international organization. It stands for the National Organization of which one is it? Seems to be only a lot of person. But it's NIADA. It is literally dedicated to the art of the doll. It's this international professional organization with makers and collectors of dolls. And it goes from porcelain dolls all the way up to contemporary dolls.
Yeah, I need to check that out. And there's a doll show tomorrow.
Where?
I don't know. I'm new to Asheville, so everything to me is just a GPS destination. Like, I don't know where anything is, but it's here. It's near the airport. Didn't I say that? Okay. Yes. Okay.
What time?
9:30. Yep. You might be able to make it.
When you talk about community, when you meet with local people, that's fostering community. Do they address things like violence, gun violence, or things like that? Or is it all more rosy things?
Oh, well, thank you for your question. When people create dioramas and design dolls, they usually come from their own imagination or their own experiences. And so if you go online and look for doll makers who share on social media, you're gonna find all kinds of imaginary worlds. Some people's Barbies are tatted up. They have tattoos from their neck down to their feet. Some people's Barbies or dolls carry a gun. It's just like what you allow in your imaginary world. Me, I'm kind of nostalgic. I like a happy doll face. I like them to drive their little Barbie car, and go on their little Barbie adventures, and cook their little little doll food. I'm not into that type of life because I don't participate in that life like in real life. Like, I'm not gonna get a tattoo. I'm still putting shea butter on my scar on my shoulder from an accident. So yeah, I'm not trying to make a tattoo, but some people do. And so you'll find a variety. And I'll say, if you're looking for it, you're gonna find it in the doll world. If you're looking for it, you're gonna find it, because some people are very romantic with their dolls. Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna say that. I'm just
I think he got woke up.
Okay.
We're playing. 2 adults were playing with the Barbies in the Barbie townhouse.
Okay. That is online. If you look for, like I said, anything you're looking for, you're gonna find. Just like this, anything. Like, there's a lady that makes doll quilts. Just doll quilts. Small little quilts. If you're looking for it, you'll find it. You want dolls that box? You can find people who are boxing dolls. I mean, anything you're looking for, you can find it on community. What I enjoy is having doll parties, and that was really motivated by the movie too. I got together with my friends and we had a party before we went to see the Barbie movie, and I made a doll that looked like every one of my friends. So I made their outfit. I asked everybody what they were wearing, and if they could send me a picture, and then I sewed a dress or outfit to look like everybody's, to be everybody's mini-me. But before that, I brought all my dolls. I really have hundreds. And then different pieces that I've made, like the table and plants and things, and we just brought everything together and played for 2 hours. And people talked about how they didn't grow up with dolls. They did grow up with dolls. They couldn't afford dolls. They only had one doll. I had 50 dolls, you know, and we just talked about what it was like to be a child, to grow up with this relationship with dolls, and then to be an adult now and have more options, but trying to reclaim that feeling. So what is the future? What I hope is that people do more research about our relationships with dolls, and that's my graduate student. I did that when I was working on my master's at ETSU. She has on her little ETSU outfit from the bookstore. She's outside the bookstore.
I see a sling bag too.
Yeah, she's working on her MA, and she's getting ready to go to the archives at the library, working on her thesis and holding Johnson City down. And what I hope is that as crafters, as craftivists, as researchers, that we start to ask questions of our dolls and see what it's communicating about our lives and how we feel about ourselves and each other. So thank you all. This is Margot Miller, my sister. You can find me online. If you took pictures of your Barbie, like email it to me or send it on Instagram, then I can make like a little album, because I wanted to have like my dolls at the conference. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.